Good afternoon. This is the September 4th, 2024 meeting of the Municipal Facilities Optimization Committee. I'm actually getting better at saying that now. Guess I'm getting used to it. So we have a quorum, and this meeting is called to order. First thing on the agenda is review and act to approve the meeting minutes of August 24th, 2024, and August 26th, 2024. Just as a reminder, the August 24th meeting involved 3 people. It was Steve, Keith, and myself. We were at the, we were on South Street at the DPW building for tours. So any questions or comments on the minutes?
I think just on the 26th, that shows Beth here, and I believe she was remote.
Justin. Okay.
Does it matter?
I don't know.
I usually will include that you joined by Google Meet. I can fix that.
Okay.
Other than that,
Wait, does it, on the 26th?
On 26th, yeah.
Did you just change it? Like,
Yeah.
just a second? Because I see it as via Google Meet on mine,
Okay.
Let's see what I have.
on the 26th.
I've just heard it mentioned before, that's why. It
Yeah.
doesn't
Okay.
matter to me.
No, it says it.
No, I've got via Google Meet as well.
Oh,
Okay.
then
It's
the
okay.
one I read was different.
That's okay. All right, so I would recommend, since there were only 3 of us at the August 24th meeting, that we take these as separate items. So do we have a motion on the August 24th meeting minutes?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
So we have a motion and a second to approve the meeting minutes from August 24th, 2024. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
I'm gonna abstain. I wasn't there.
Same.
Yep. And that is approved 3-0 with 2 abstentions. And the August 26th, 2024 meeting minutes, do we have a motion?
Motion approved.
Second.
And we have a motion and a second on the August 26th, 2024 meeting minutes. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So voted unanimously. Item number 3, approve bills, schedules, and warrants. There are none for this meeting. So we'll move on to number 4, and we have an update from Helene Carl Architects. Greg, you are up.
Thank you. I'll just stand up here. Hopefully you can address any of the issues. Mike, I guess you're running this?
Yep.
All right. Basically what we've done is, you've seen a lot of this information, and I will just, highlight the major changes that have happened, or I don't even know if you'd call them major changes, but the changes that have happened since the last review. Basically, this has been updated now. There were a couple numbers off. There were like 86 staff before, and cars were, a fleet was off by like 2 vehicles or stuff. We did finish our last programming session with water and sewer on Friday of last week. So, so the program has now been finalized and up to date. Next. This is just a series of slides that we've gone through before about, basically the description of it, as well as some of the issues to highlight. The only reason I put this in red is there was a question about whether the little pool that was next to the existing water and sewer building, whether it was a wetlands or not. The town engineer has determined that it is not a wetlands, it's part of a drainage system, so that was fabulous news. One of the other things that I will highlight, and I will show you, is there's a riverfront issue that we will address, and that's why the site plan changed a little. Next, Mike. And again, these are just the same things you've seen before. Next. Next. All right, and I'll address any questions you all may have on this. But essentially, which is kind of hard to see in the maps, but if you look at the wetlands maps and stuff, there's what they call a river running right through here. So, next, Mike. I only show this plan because somebody, I think at the last meeting, had asked to see if they could see the existing building. And I tried to show it in context with the addition of where the new building was going. Next, Mike. So this is probably the plan that I want to discuss most. If you remember at the last presentation, recycling was up in this general area that we had. It has since now been moved down here. And the rationale behind that is we were pushing in, and I don't know if you can see this kind of cyan line, and then it turns purple or magenta color there. That is the riverfront setback and everything. And it kind of travels through here and gets pretty close to the building and everything. in order to be able to put the recycling on this area, we'd be disturbing a lot of the currently undisturbed area at the riverfront. While this area is currently disturbed, what we're proposing on doing is using that for retention basins and everything, and restoring that area more in a wetlands and riverfront type of surfaces and everything. So one of the other things that we noticed is while we were working through this, so that was the main driving issue to move the recycling down here. But there was also the issue of this kind of became a no man's zone, and while we did have the original fuel island there and everything in this location, the reason we said, well, we could probably make a better use of that space and everything. So that's why we put the recycling in that area. And one of the ideas is that you can come in, drive out, and drop off. If you have to queue, you can park in the spaces across from the area. And one of the other things that was asked, which is much easier to do here, is the recycling program had requested if we could get dumpsters down a little lower so people can throw things kind of out the back of their car without having to lift and everything. So what we're proposing here is a ramp that you can lower the dumpsters in. So if I'm coming out of my car or something, I may only have to lift it like a foot or two up as opposed to lift it up and over. And then you'll see that there's these like boxes here, which are basically the storage trailers. We would then move the fuel island to this side of the green. We'd put a green strip in there. And then if you notice that little square there was a little guard shack that they requested because I guess they're going to be collecting fees and stuff on certain items, once the program becomes. So that we're just proposing as kind of a modular, guard shack that you can purchase. And I'm sure you've seen all of those. There would be gates there, and then there would still be the gates there. The other thing we did was, originally the curb cut was down here a little further. We took it and straightened out that road along the side with water and sewer to make that a little more efficient traveling through. Everything is still segregated. The public basically stays there. Obviously, if you're doing drop-off or recycling and stuff, that would occur. But again, they stay out. I know we had some discussions with some of the user groups and stuff, whether we had started to introduce fencing and stuff to create a little more of a segregation between those spaces. And then in the back, pretty much what we've done now is just illustrated the size of the proposed vehicle canopy back there. There's a little pipe crib here, which has been requested if they could put a canopy on top of it because some of the PVC pipes degrade in sunlight and everything. So that has been a request. There would be material storage for both parks as well as highway and sewer, and then there's more parking there. So right now, the site plan meets all of the requirements for the program, all the employee parking, all the fleet parking, as well as all of the building needs and everything. We believe that this will probably be approved by conservation more readily because we are restoring this area and bringing it back to its more natural state as opposed to impacting that where all the activities are basically occurred on impacted spaces already. Next, Mike. You've seen the breakdown on the plan. There have been some little tweaks here and there. I can go through all the details if you want, but basically it's an office here, a closet there, shifting things. One of the things that did come up is there was a request to go back to 2 separate break rooms, which we're proposing that they would put a folding partition there so that you could use the larger area. Nothing's finalized, I know but one of the departments said, we have 20 guys come in and the other department has 20 guys and they're handing out orders and stuff and they thought that there would be too much chaos and everything to have like 40 people in there getting direction on what tasks they were doing for the day. So that is why they'd asked that the rooms still be separated. So again, it was one of the things we just incorporated based on the programming that we've heard, but we'll obviously discuss that in more detail once we get further into the design and everything. Other than that, I think everything works out. We did give water, sewer a little more dedicated storage because they were looking for some specific storage. We've increased the storage here by reconfiguring this area and hopefully making it more efficient to address all of those issues. The program right now meets all of the layout right now meets all of the program requirements. Okay, that's for current use as well as future use. I know we'll be getting into the budget a little later on, so we can have that discussion then. But right now, this plan meets all of the requirements that all the divisions have asked for. Next, Mike. What you'll see, this is just the plan without the color. Next. Now you'll start to see a series of the renderings, just a little more refined renderings, the seal, more trees, light poles and stuff. Next. And you've seen these. And I'm going to let you go, Mike, a little quicker right there. That you've seen. You've seen this one and next. Okay, so, and as you can see, this straightened this out a little last time. There was parking on this side and everything. Now it's just a straight shot and everything. And we're anticipating if you, put the gate at the face of the building, basically you can keep the public on that side of it. If they want to move it up, we can also talk about moving it up. But those are details that we would work through. Next, Mike. That's the, yes, okay, so these are the new images that we just wanted to show you. So right here, you're in front of the building, the parking is coming through. What we're proposing, if you saw on the site plan, is that little C-shape thing. We're proposing that that be the composting area, so that, people can unload their compost, dump it in there. Once it gets to a point that it's filled, a highway or somebody will have to go in, clean it out, and move it there. The other reason we did that was because when you're coming this way, we're hoping to screen some of that recycling operations. And I'm sure it'll be kept tidy and everything, but as you know, it is still recycling. Next slide, Mike. And I think this slide kind of shows you a little better of what's happening. The storage trailers, the composting bin, the new fuel island, the barn. And again, there was a discussion about where we put a fence or something along there. There would be the guardhouse, which didn't get into the rendering, would be right here on that island with a gate right there. But that's essentially the kind of the image that we are giving. And I think that's the last slide.
Yeah.
Okay. And then there's a more detailed program with the personnel staffing as well as the vehicles and the breakout for the vehicles. You'll notice which items have been identified as fleet versus employee vehicles. Also, you'll notice that some of the blue text or highlighted text is for the administration area, and we've identified which individuals get private offices versus cubicles and everything. And right now, there's need for 21 cubicles. You have 24 in the area, so you do have a little more growth, even though that includes some of the growth. And there's like an extra office or two that can also be expanded. We've talked about it being initially used as a meeting room or something, but if additional staff comes on, or if a special projects come on, there is like 2 extra offices that can be dedicated for that activity. At this time, I'll be happy to address any questions that you may have, but that's essentially the update on the plan.
Questions?
Greg, on the floor plan, can you, you have the total addition square footage, but can you
Did you go back?
show us what, like, the administrative section is, square footage wise, and what, like, the operations section?
Yeah, so Mike, if you go back one. So I can get you that, Keith, with a more accurate. The new addition is 29,295 square feet, which is basically from the beige over.
Okay.
This is water and sewer. Mike, do you know how?
I want to say like 19,000.
Okay. And I think you're right now, the existing building is about 11,000. Now, again, as I mentioned at the last presentation, one of the items that we wanted to address is we've made this big enough to hold 10-wheelers, okay? And I know you don't have any in your fleet now, but you can hold the 6-wheelers and stuff. Because one of the things we're also considering is this will help with the phasing. Well, I'll start for the first reason we're doing is the vehicles are getting bigger, not smaller. And we don't want to be in the position that 5 years from now, you guys are calling us up saying, why'd you design everything for pickup trucks? Because now we're doing 6-wheelers with plows and everything else. But it also has a practical implication for the renovation. Because what we're anticipating, because this garage is essentially the same size as the highway garage. So we're thinking that while water and sewer is in their new building, highway would temporarily move their operations into the water and sewer garage, so that then we could renovate that when we tear the roof off and replace the roof and everything, so that there's some swing space occurring in here. And then, and I had this discussion with water and sewer, and they kind of chuckled. I said, yeah, you're gonna have to share your space first. And they were good with that. They didn't have any issues with that. But we're thinking, we put the new addition up, move highway over, We renovate that portion, and our garage would still be in operations and stuff like that, and we can work around with them. But at least it gives us some flex room to be able to coordinate the construction. Once their renovations are done on that side, highway moves back in, water and sewer moves out into their area, then the existing building comes down, and that is how we anticipate sequencing the operations. That way, no particular operation will have to move off-site or anything during the construction. It is construction, there'll be some inconveniences, but the staff seems pretty willing and everything to work with that, to get what they feel like they need in the future. And to get back to your question, Keith, I will be happy to give you those breakdowns for the areas. That's no problem. I just don't have them off at the top.
Yeah, I'd appreciate learning shared space numbers, administration numbers, and then water and sewer numbers.
Sure, no problem.
Great, thanks, Keith. Anybody else?
Just a question on the dumpsters. Is that what I'm looking at, that I'm assuming they go down into a depressed ramp?
Yes, we're anticipating it'd probably be like a 4-foot, 5-foot drop.
Currently, we have side loading dumpsters. Does that pose any problems? And then also for change out, if one were to get full, the back one were to get full first.
You have to pull the other two out first, yes.
And the last question was on, are they covered? Because if it rains, I don't know if we.
That's an administrative issue of how you want to manage the dumpsters. Right now, which if you look carefully, you see all those little dots, those are intended to be bollards so that you can walk up to the edge, whether the dumpster's at that exact height, because I know they have some low roll-offs and they have some of the higher roll-offs. However you decide to do it, that's something we would work with recycling program. I would propose that pit not get any deeper than maybe 5 feet, so that gives you, because a low roll-off will basically at grade level, one of the higher ones you'd have to lift up like maybe 18, 24 inches to get your materials in there. I think planning this on what turns over quicker, so for example, and I'm just throwing things out, so please don't, but like, let's say that you're putting, metal in this one, and let's say that you only, that fills up every 3 months or something, versus, and I know they're not throwing mattresses in here, but if they put mattresses in the first one because they're changing that out every month, then I would say that's the way to manage that. And until the recycling program gets fully developed, I think there's going to be a learning curve on how you have to shuffle the trailers and everything. But one thing we did think was a positive in this is any of that heavy-duty work of pulling dumpsters and everything out happens in the fleet area and not in the public area.
Anything else, Beth?
I guess I was wondering if someone can clarify where the dumpster concept came from. Like, I thought I remembered we wanted dumpsters for mattresses.
Well, so these would be dumpsters. I would think they would be more for, like he said, scrap metal, recycling,
Is it our cardboard dumpsters too?
Cardboard, yeah, potentially. Like right now, there is no location for people to dump plastic or glass, so.
Or styrofoam.
Or styrofoam is, although not a recyclable, but that might be a service that we offer
Yeah.
for people to use.
So yeah, to your point, the cardboard dumpster is going to be difficult
Well,
to
I'm
access
concerned, I know as a contractor, we pay by weight.
going that way.
Well, actually, yes, we
So
well,
if it rains-
recycling is a little different, but we pay by the
Okay.
pull, and then depending on, since cardboard and recycling products are a commodity, that number changes. But I think that's something that Gosha would certainly be heavily involved in, and how that, maybe one of those dumpsters may not be the cardboard dumpster. The cardboard dumpster might be in a different way because, it's loaded differently than the other stuff. So I'm sure that's something we can work through with.
Something to think about.
Yep.
And speaking from experience with Groton, like cardboard's a big thing. Obviously with, Amazon and everything, always a lot of cardboard. Groton used to have in their recycling center where they had the baler, where you'd take it in, throw it in the baler. People would jam it up all the time. So what they did is they moved to an open bin area that then they let the crews actually bale the cardboard because it's much more successful doing it that way. And I think OSHA had also gone over to like the Worcester operations and everything and found that this was really handy. Again, we didn't get into the details of which trailers are going to hold mattresses versus appliances and stuff, but I'm assuming that, like most of them, One of the trailers would hold electronics, old TVs, computers and stuff. Things like appliances, I don't know where they will go, but there always seems to be kind of that mix. And Gosha is trying to get everybody to be a little more involved in the recycling, and so she wants to try to make it user-friendly, and so they can expand the operations, even though I knew you do have curbside pickup as well.
How big is that area? I mean, we could change, I mean, that would be an area to say, you have X amount of square feet to play with, front loading, back loading, to the points that we brought up. They may have different type of dumpsters, or they may have different contractors. Like mattresses could go in a box instead
Right,
of a
well, that's
dumpster.
what these 3 boxes are for.
That's
those
what
would
these
be
3
the-
boxes are for?
Yeah, those would be like the current containers that you have there, where you open them up, you walk the mattresses in, you'd probably do electronics and everything else like this. This we're looking at, if you're familiar with like a 30-yard dumpster size, that's what we would intend in there, 3 30-yard dumpsters. And one of the things we also wanted to make sure is that there was adequate room for the vehicles that haul these trailers and dumpsters away can get in there and do it. But to your point, yes, this is not optimum from the idea that you would have to pull the front trailers out. But again, I think it's a matter of programming the recycling that goes into these dumpsters and how that works to make that most efficient for this operation.
I assume you would need drainage in there as well, or?
Absolutely. There would be drainage at the bottom of the pit and everything that would tie in and everything, so.
And the wall is there for?
It's actually just a, edged concrete wall that's 4 feet high, 5 feet high, with a row of bollards. There was a discussion as to whether you put a curb or something like that. That becomes somewhat of a tripping hazard. Again, those are the details that we will work out to see what operations you like the best.
So I have several questions.
Sure.
Number one, since we're on the recycling area, can you point out where the yard waste drop-off is going
You
to
see
be?
this little C-shaped structure
Yep.
right there? That's intended to be the yard waste.
Okay, so that gets used, we get a lot of material for that.
Understand?
And how
Well, we
frequently?
get less now than we used to because we have more yard waste pickups.
True.
So, but yeah, that would be loaded and then they would, typically, they empty that out.
That would be
the
moved
one-
right away.
like
So
right away,
that will
yeah.
not be a dumpster, though?
No, the idea is that it would
Right.
just be on a surface that they can come in, bring a front-end loader in, load up the truck and drive it into the back. I know that Gosha had talked about the recycling and composting operations, but as we all know, composting is as much an art as it is a science. You may not be turning over your composting as quickly as you want to keep it in the area there. So that's why we're anticipating that you would take the yard debris and everything, maybe in a back portion of the site, maybe back here or something, so it can sit there for several months
Right.
and compost before you, bring it back out or something.
My concern was, would that be, with the volume that we get, would that be visible from the street, since it's, I know it was close to the street before,
Right.
but now we're talking about a,
Well, we're anticipating that
facility.
that wall will be 8 to 10 feet high. Okay? If they're like most people, like myself, I like to drag the bag and leave it on the ground and push it into the pile. What usually happens, and again, I'm speaking from experience at the Groton Recycling Center and stuff, usually on a Saturday or something, they have an operator there with a front-end loader, and whether it's cans, cardboards, plastic, paper, or yard waste, the loader goes by, and when people dump too much stuff here, the loader pushes the stuff in. They'll fill up for a few more hours. The loader might do it maybe once or twice during the course of a Saturday. It may be enough that they can go another Saturday or two before they have to go in and unload it. So, but again, this is something we would be open for discussion as we get more into the design development and everything. Because again, we're trying to keep people away from the fleet operation.
sure. No, I understand that, and that brings me to my second question. It looks like in this site plan, you added a gate by the composting and recycling area, or was that one there before?
No, that was an added gate.
That was an added gate. So can you talk to me about how those gates are going to work? Are they going to be operated with with fobs or with key
No, I'm
cards?
anticipating that those will just be your basic pipe swing gate with a chain on them.
So they have to be manually open for each vehicle that comes in?
Well, no, I'm anticipating that like your current operations, they will just stay open all day. and then they will close them during, you know, you can leave them open during normal operating hours.
Okay.
Now, again, there's still the option, if we choose to, we can make an electrified gate, like a sliding gate or something to address that. There's challenges with that. I mean, it's doable, they do it all the time.
They're expensive,
They're expensive,
and
they're,
they
yeah.
break.
And they break, right. And so that's why we would think just a simple gate that I can close and open during normal operation.
Right, but if there's a manual gate that's open all day, how does that keep the public out of that area?
Well, again, this is part of the signage and everything. We would obviously make in the monument sign or whatever that this is the public entrance.
Mhm.
And this would only be opening, I'd post it, authorized vehicles only, except on recycling day or whatever it is. Or you put out the red flag when you can do recycling or something. And I think most people would probably respect that. If somebody does come in here, they could just turn themselves around and get out without necessarily having, I would definitely have signs here saying that authorized vehicles only. So the worst I do is I come in here and, oh, how do I get out? Either pull in the space and back out, or loop around there and out. When I was there the couple times, and I was there for several hours, didn't see a whole lot of people coming in just off the road. Now, as this gets a little more developed, maybe there will be more activities. I know Goshen had scheduled people to do like mattress pickups and stuff. So I'm assuming that that operation will probably stay pretty much the same during the week. On weekends, that's why she wanted the guardhouse, so that they could charge or whatever, you know, for certain deliveries and stuff.
So after hours then, from the roadway entrances, those are going to be blocked off by a fence or something like that, right?
We can put a gate up here too. We were anticipating the gate would only be back there.
Yeah, that's something we'll have to talk about, if we have two gates there.
That doesn't
close
seem
it
to
at-
make
Close it at night, like typically we close it at night now, so.
Well, that's what we're doing now.
Yeah, so I think that's something we gotta talk about with
Yeah.
how that operation's
Yeah,
gonna work.
yeah, because it seems to me it makes more sense to have it open during the day.
Yep.
Why do we need it if we're gonna have a gate on the street, right at the street?
Then that's fine.
Just something to think about.
Yep, look at that.
And then I guess my third question is on the renderings where the administrative area is,
Sure, Mike, can you go there?
which I like. Don't get me, I think it looks really nice. However, I'm a little bit concerned about with all the glass, not building a building, but maintaining a building is always an issue. How do you maintain all of that glass in terms of keeping it clean?
Well, I don't know how you currently do your regular buildings, but I know most people will have their window cleaners come every 6 months, once a year, to do the glazing and everything.
How tall are those, Greg?
This is about 20 feet high to the top of the glass there. And so like the interior shouldn't get that dirty. I mean, obviously the lower glass, you know, let's say 8 feet or lower, can get fingerprints and everything. The upper portions of the glass shouldn't see any activity. As far as the exterior glazing, whether you actually have a professional cleaner come in or whether they just get the hose every now and then and, you know, rinse them down.
Do we contract that out currently for other buildings?
Depends on the building. Some of our buildings have some tall, clear story glass like this, and our staff have extendable holes and
Okay.
window kits to do that.
Okay.
This building, I would anticipate our in-house staff would do most of this work. The stuff that we contract is like our second and third story, single windows in schools and stuff like that, so we could probably handle that in-house.
Okay, all right, just something to think about from a maintenance and another
Yep.
cost issue. All right, I think that's it for now.
But I will say, if you heard the last time, one request I got from every division was they want windows.
No, I understand that, and like I said, I like the design.
Thank you.
And, you know, what, politicians and committees and architects and project managers and construction managers love to build buildings. They don't always love to maintain them, so that's always a concern.
No, we're very sensitive to that because you don't really see it in this rendering, but it is actually there. But even like up against the building, we typically lay down a granite strip, like curbing or something, so that when I run the lawnmower, I'm not hitting the side of the building, I'm not weed whacking or anything. I can just run the lawnmower on that 18-inch strip of granite, get all the grass and stuff. So we do build in things like that. We understand when you're plowing. You'll notice on the site plan, even at the end of the building, Mike, if you can go to that before the last rendering here. Keep going, yeah, to where the truck, yeah, this one. You'll notice we even put a planting bed there. Now, whether there's grass or shrubs, then we can talk about that. But the idea is, we like to keep vehicles, plows, snow blowers, everything away from the building as
Mhm.
much as possible, because that's what really damages your buildings.
Right.
You know, so we try to build in some of that buffer. I would say we'd be selective on the granite curbing, parking islands like this, where the public immediately would, we've estimated and proposed that as granite. Something along this strip, there is no need for a granite curb, because you're not really gonna be impacting the building, and if you run off the grass a little, you can always patch strip. But again, you'll notice curbing around there, because we don't want plows and things like that
Mhm.
getting close to the building.
Anything else?
Yeah.
Beth?
Speaking of snow, where does snow get stored on this site when it's cleared?
So we're anticipating that there'd be snow piles all along here, not so much in the retention basin. Obviously, you can get a pile there, you know, and pile it around the perimeter. This area, again, this is something we would work with highway a little more. Maybe there isn't any landscaping there, maybe there is, I don't know. Again, we try to soften this so it doesn't look like a sea of parking. Those are things that we would work out. But right now, we would see primarily storing snow all around the perimeter of the site.
Okay, and if we could just talk a minute more about the recycling area.
Yes.
How many cars do you think, how many vehicles can queue in that area before they end up out on South Street?
Okay, so right now we have 11 parking spaces, I think that's the number. I can't read it very well here.
15.
15 parking spaces. So what we had anticipated, and we've purposely did this side would be an egress only. That's why we pinched it down to one lane out, because we don't want people queuing up trying. So what you do is you come in here, and at 15 feet, call that 150 feet, you can probably get about 6 cars in there comfortably queuing if they were just waiting while these people were in there. So I'm anticipating that you could probably have 10 to 12 vehicles in the area, either queuing or, you know, unloading and stuff during this process.
Keith, does that meet the need? I don't attend yard waste drop-off.
Yeah, based
so-
based on the tour day, that's, you know, cars were coming in 2, 3 at a time, maybe, like, there wasn't, we didn't really have more, I don't think we ever had more than 4 or 5 cars coming in at the same time.
No, not on that particular day. I've seen it more
Yeah.
crowded. Maybe
I
that was
mean, it-
before we
yeah,
had more.
before we had,
days.
before we had the yard waste pickups all year, like, they would be in the street. like-
Yeah.
Like, there would be
Right.
50 cars there. But I think that we've changed that, and then, you know, with our more
Curbside,
curbside.
right,
so,
okay.
For sure.
Just want to make sure it's big enough.
And again, the driving factor was, Mike, if you zoom back out, you know, was that riverfront up there, and we're trying to keep this all out of the riverfront, so that COMCON and, you know, DEP are happy with this operation. And then we obviously didn't want to bring them that far back into the site.
Oh, That's great,
Those were the constraints that we were trying to work within.
thank you.
Anybody else?
Yeah, I notice you have 2 gates, but no fence.
Again, Keithan had brought that up. It's something we will work on. There was a discussion as to whether a fence goes here and comes across. Yeah.
Well, on the backside where you have the public going in and parking to go in, and then there's a gate, but there's no fence around the proposed wetlands management area. Is that needed?
Well, right now, yeah, we don't have a fence and everything back there.
Okay.
So, and again, this is something we would work, whether, do you want a fence in the whole area? Right now, the whole area is not fenced in.
it's-
Basically, your fence is along the street,
It's only fenced at the street, right?
control points,
Yep.
correct?
So it looks like you moved the control point that we have now at the street with the fence and the gates back and put 2 gates, but
Yes.
we didn't put any other fence. Is that okay with everybody?
Oh, you mean like not, it's not shown on the plan? Like, I think we would still continue to have a fence along.
There would be a fence
Yeah.
along the front here if you chose to.
With
the
gates?
thing- uh,
Yeah, with gates.
With gates,
Yeah.
yeah.
So there's another gate on the inside?
Well, that was the discussion that was coming
No,
up.
no, that's what we
Someone
have
had
to
asked-
work out.
Yeah,
I think Patrick could ask that. We may not need that gate here if we have gates on.
If we have the gates on the street,
south
we don't need them
There's
on the
another gate up
interior.
here, up top. There's a gate here and there's a gate here. I thought we just took and moved these in, right there.
Right. We probably don't need them.
Yeah. Again, this is a detail that we will work through on the design. If, and it sounds like everybody would be happy with moving the gates back out to the street and leaving them, and then just posting this with signage that authorized vehicles only. Easy thing to make the change. And if that's the direction the committee or the departments would like to go, we'll be happy to do that. We just wanted to put a placeholder in for the fences and the gates and everything to make sure at least we have something there.
Everybody good with that?
I'm good. I
Okay.
don't have any more questions right now.
I just had one comment about, I will say I like the more compactness of this site plan, like having the recycling area in what you called no man's land before, because I didn't think it was wasted space. So I do like that, I do like it. The other thing that I was literally just thinking of is that moving that to the middle gives us a lot more buffer to the neighborhood on that side, although there's not really any houses there. There are some in the back, and if we took that area that's in dark green, which is currently like a laydown area, and that becomes, bring that more natural, I think that also gives more buffer. to
Yes,
those-
I like that part a lot.
That's intended to be the storm drainage, retention ponds and everything,
Mhm.
Yeah.
that dark green.
And I would think that anywhere that we have a chance, we want to add trees and more green space to add more buffer when possible. So I do like the way it's put together
I agree.
generally, yeah.
At any point in your investigations of the site, did you come across the Bewalt Trail that the Trails Committee has been talking about is somehow back there?
I personally have not seen them. And I kind of tromped around and walked back and followed Jim on his excavator and everything else. And right now, this is just a laydown area.
And it's in the back somewhere.
Well, I understand that, but I'm just saying is, you don't really go past all the laydown area, whether it's pipes or spoils or tree planks or whatever. So I personally did not have an opportunity to experience that trail.
I wonder if we could ask someone from the Trails Committee to show us where it
Yeah,
is.
we should
instead
do
of-
that.
'cause we're hunting and not
should.
finding it. And
We
I
ha-
know it's something that's on their radar as they try to make their town-wide trail system.
We did have a couple members at the
Yeah, we
tour
did.
that asked about it, that are interested in it. So I'm sure they know exactly where it is.
Okay, next time they have to show us. We'll
Yep.
get one of them to show us.
Yep.
Thanks.
Anything else?
I guess not.
All right,
Thanks,
thank you.
Greg. All right. Okay, item number 5, review the project budget. It's come to my attention that the finalized budget is not yet fully prepared, so we're gonna table, review the project budget to
Mhm.
the next meeting.
Yep.
All right? Which brings us to item 6, review and act regarding construction manager at risk. We did have a detailed discussion of this last week at the meeting. Any thoughts or concerns as to how people feel about this?
I mean, I think I said it at the meeting last week, right? I have I'm leaning toward construction manager at risk. I think that it is a model that served us well in the community on the past 2 projects where it was used. I like knowing that the number is the number and we're not going to come across some kind of an overrun that we weren't prepared for. I think it keeps everybody kind of really in tune to the number, to the budget, and I know that it's a little bit more expensive up front, but I think that it's worth it for the peace of mind. Also, knowing that we aren't going to need to go back to the public, to the voters, to the taxpayers and say, we had this issue and here we are asking for more when we told you it was only going to be this.
Mhm.
So I am in favor of construction manager at risk.
Okay. Steve?
I have used construction manager at risk a lot, and I'm in favor of it, and I agree with what Beth says. It may cost us more, but we have somewhat of a guarantee max, and we have a team effort, not an adversary effort, if you get into the general contracting, which I've also done, and I'd rather be part of a team. So I'm in favor of using it myself.
Mike?
Yeah, I agree. It's like buying the insurance policy up front.
And Keith? I think.
Yeah, same for me.
Yeah.
I think that's certainly my preferred method, my preferred path.
Yeah, I mean, in the one time, on the one building I've been on, when we used it, it seems like there was a lot more teamwork in terms of trying to control costs and not, not dip into the contingencies if we didn't have to. And there was really a team effort to keep costs down, knowing that there was that guaranteed maximum price and anything below that was a savings.
Right.
So I think I'm totally in favor of going that way. So, I think we're unanimous, but we have to make it official. So, do we have a motion to manage this project in the construction manager at risk model, which I believe is model 149A?
Yep.
Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve building the DPW facility and redesigning it with construction manager at risk, 149A. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed? So voted unanimously. Thank you. That was easy. I think we'll all be happy with that decision. Item number 7, review the next meeting date. I think we have September 9th.
Yep.
On the agenda.
And I was also, and this doesn't have to be decided tonight, I would also propose that we set a meeting date for the 23rd.
Okay. Anybody have a problem with the 23rd? No conflicts? I'll be back.
Okay.
Are you
23rd
traveling
works.
that day?
I'll be in Philly on the
Okay,
22nd.
I'm traveling that day, but I should be back in time.
Okay,
Okay.
all right, 23rd,
Monday, right?
that will be a Monday, yeah.
Yep, 2 weeks from today.
That works. Okay, very good. And then, item number 8, other business, anybody have anything?
I do not.
Just one question.
Sure.
How, is it possible to know a little bit preliminary if we found out anything out about the soil borings
Oh,
yesterday?
great question, great question.
So I've not received anything official from the geotech yet, but I did talk to Dan Keneally. The good news is everything looks good. There's about anywhere from 4 to 8 feet of fill in there, but we're averaging at about 5 feet of fill. So we'll be able to scoop up that 5 feet of fill, put in, suitable materials, and then just do standard spread footings on there. The one area there, it's like so far out that it's just a little corner. So if we have to go down 8 feet, that's really no big deal. So other than that, that was good news. I did not hear from Peter Glick on whether how the test pits went, but I'm sure if there was something wrong, because I did speak to him, I just forgot to ask him about that. I'm sure he would have told me. So right now, everything is looking good. You might have heard more.
Yeah, I accompanied Peter for all of the test pit
Okay.
excavations, and we encountered no surprises. We did 2 test pits out by the salt shed area where we were concerned we might hit some organic material. It was a thin layer of it, otherwise it was granular both above and below. The water table was, as expected, seasonal high was around 5 feet generally, 5 to 7 feet for the water table. Again, nobody was particularly surprised by that. That was what Peter was more or less expecting to find. A lot of sandy silt material, very granular, some of it more so than others, but again, it was, really nothing especially surprising. And nothing, and the fill, as we were digging down with the excavator, the fill layers were as Greg described. So the borings and the test pits were generally aligned in terms of what material was found at what depths.
Okay, so we don't think we're gonna find any ledge then?
No,
Okay, good.
no, the drillers indicated that they didn't hit any refusal indicating bedrock, in any of the holes that they drilled, so.
Does that mean no blast?
Or boulder.
Hopefully not.
Right, okay.
No, no
Just
boulders
digging.
Yeah,
either.
right.
Just
Yeah.
digging.
Right.
Yeah, the fill material was generally mostly just sand, and there weren't really a lot of, cobble-sized rocks in it. But
How far did they go down on the borings? Do you know?
I think the deepest one was 28 feet.
It's nice to hear about the water table too, because I know that was a concern.
Mm-hmm.
You know, with the wetlands around it,
Mm-hmm.
that was gonna be
You
my
did speak to
follow-up
the-
question.
Sorry. They did
That's all right.
speak to the depth of the borings, because they found, and either there was a conversation with you or right up, that it was just so consistent for so many feet, they just didn't see benefit to continuing down deeper. So that was why the depth stopped there.
At 28.
I don't remember exactly where that came from. It was probably
Yeah,
from a
that was from
conversation
me.
with you.
No,
Yeah,
the,
that was from you, yes.
So,
You're
yeah,
right,
there
yes.
were a couple of the other, all of the boring locations were within the proposed footprint of the addition.
Yep.
And in, one of the cases, they were going to go to 20 feet, but they stopped at 17 because they said, we're hitting the same stuff for the last, 10 feet of this whole, the geotech said, we don't think we need to go any deeper with this one, on to the next. So, yeah,
Excellent.
it was a good report.
Good news. Thanks, Mike, for the
Oh,
question.
Great.
Anything else under other business?
If I may ask one, so the next meeting is on the 9th. I know the committee's meeting with the select board on the 10th.
So actually, no.
Okay.
So the next meeting's on the 9th, then we'll have a meeting on the 23rd, and then we will be meeting with the select board on the 24th.
Okay. Great, then I will talk to you and everybody offline just to see, because if, for example, like, do you want me to modify the drawings to move the gates to the front or this thing? And those are just little details I want to make sure that I have addressed for for the presentation.
Right, and we'll be meeting Monday to talk budget, and then that'll give us 2 weeks to make sure our presentation is what it needs to be, so that we can share not only the plans, but the financial model for the residents and how all that's gonna work to get us into town meeting.
Excellent. All right. Anybody have anything else? No? Do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Do we have a second? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So voted unanimously. That was quick.